is now being recorded.
Okay, great. So yeah, so do you mind just starting at the beginning, like how you got interested in this? Like, how were you raised in terms of religion, and like how it all kind of like started?
Hold on one second, sorry. I'm on.
Okay.
Sorry. Okay. So, do you want me to start from like the very beginning, from when I first started my first business, or where do you want me to go from?
Like first
Okay.
business, because you were really young, weren't you?
Yeah, I was. So the first business I started was a company called Astor and Black, a custom clothing company, and I was inspired to get into the clothing business when I was 16 years old. I was in yeshiva actually in Venice, Italy, and I used to. There was one particular guy who came to yeshiva who had custom shirts made with a Hong Kong tailor in Canada. And he said he had these beautiful shirts, and at the time, custom tailoring wasn't very common. It wasn't like today when, you need a custom suit. Everyone in the neighborhood is a custom tailor. Everyone has a custom clothing business. Back then, there was literally one company in America that did it, a company called Tom James, and everyone else was just these fly-by-night, visits from tailors visiting from Hong Kong. And he told me he paid a very reasonable price for them. And I said, I want to get some made. And I ended up getting some made with this guy. And I said to him, it's funny, the experience is so lousy, but it's crazy that you can't buy these shirts. You can't get nice tailored shirts in the United States without spending a fortune. It just didn't exist. And the only option you have is to go to a hotel room and meet some tailor from Hong Kong and get measured. And then, the service was, let's just say the experience left much to be desired. So that stuck with me, and I really enjoyed clothing. I grew up in a family surrounded by retail. Our family was, kind of has retail in the blood. And when I got married young. I actually met my wife when I was 16 and started dating her when I was 19.
Wow.
We got married at 19. Yeah. We got married at 19. I spent 3 years basically pursuing, and then 19 we got married.
Wow.
And my father had wanted me to work in real estate. I wasn't interested in real estate. I wanted to do retail. My wife really encouraged me, said, do what's going to make you happy, do what real estate might be the safer way to go. But, if this is a passion of yours and this is something you believe in, go for it. And I felt like if you could essentially create a business where you have real first-class service here in the United States, and you take care of the customer just like Tom James did, and Tom James was this company with sales reps all over the country, then I could replicate that but with fair pricing, because their pricing was off the charts crazy. My pricing would be fair. I would find great tailors in Hong Kong and in China, again, which at the time was really not being done. So over the course of the next 7 years, from 2004 through 2011, I built the company up. When I say I built it up, I mean I was on my hands and knees measuring people, measuring inseams and running around selling clothing all day. I wasn't sitting in an office directing traffic. I was actually out in the field. I was by the time I sold the company, I had approximately 150 salespeople, and I was the number one salesperson out of the 150. So I was really out there in the field, getting my hands dirty, so to speak, and really, the company was dressing professional athletes, movie stars, I mean, you name it, bankers, the most famous businessmen in America. We really had everybody in our clothing. Marketing was fantastic. We really created a brand. It wasn't just, we're less expensive than these guys. We were like the cooler, younger, hipper custom clothing option. And I then was approached by someone who said, the time is really good to look at, at an exit, at selling. And, the business is a very tough business, because when you're managing 150 salespeople, you are really, you're not just a CEO. You're a psychologist. You're taking phone calls at 3 a.m. It's a very hands-on, person-to-person. I started to really put a strain on my family life, on my life, and I felt like, wouldn't be the worst thing in the world to sell at least a good chunk of the business and bring in a good partner. So I did a deal in 2011 where I sold a very large portion of the business to a private equity group. So, in terms of the stock chart, the private equity group and I saw things very differently. I had a vision to do things one way, they had a vision to do things another way. And from 2011 to 2012, things did not go well between us. We really didn't get along. And I ended up leaving the company very shortly after. And, within a year after that, they took the company into bankruptcy actually. So they bought the company. It was, and it was an amazing business. And within, year and a half, they had taken it to bankruptcy. So that was obviously that was a major blow for me, not financially. Financially it was a blow because whatever remaining stock I had became worthless, but it was a blow for me as a this was my baby. This is something I put in incredible hours into. The way I operated that business and the way I operate in general, there's a famous quote, successful people are the people that are willing to do all the things unsuccessful people are not willing to do. And I literally, whenever I get up at 3:34 in the morning to drive 3 hours to Indianapolis to go to the Indianapolis Colts locker room to make suits for all the football players, and it was like, I lived in Columbus, Ohio at the time. It was, be 40 degrees, 30 degrees, 20 degrees outside, and I just want to stay in bed. I used to always remind myself of that. This is, if you want to be successful, you got to go the extra mile, and this is part of that. I drove myself with that quote, and I still do. So, anyways, I then had this idea, two ideas. One idea was I had this concept to create an extendable collar stay. My customers.
Wait, how old were you at this point? Sorry.
So at this point, I was now 27.
Oh, you're 27, and what year was it?
This is 2011, and I had sold.
Okay.
I had sold my first company. I had sold my first company. Well, now it's 2012. Now I sold it at 26. Now I'm 27. It's 2012. Yeah, that's right. And hold on, is that right? Let's see, 2011, I was 27. 2012, I was 28. Yeah, that's right. So now I'm 2012, 28, and I had two ideas that I thought were great ideas. One idea was this idea for an extendable collar stay. My customers were always complaining that the pieces that you put into a shirt collar are different sizes. They have to be different sizes. And it's an annoying thing. So I worked with a friend of mine, and I came up with a design, which I actually got the patent for an extendable collar stay with these different pieces that rotate out, and it changes the size of the collar stay. And I put together a whole marketing campaign behind it, and I got them into Brooks Brothers, and I got them into Express, and I put quite a bit of time and energy into it.
Wow.
And it was successful in terms of marketing. It was successful in terms of, placement in major retailers, but it was not successful financially. You have to sell a lot of collar stays to make money, to make real money. And people are just, most people are just not willing to invest in an extendable collar stay because like all small things like that, they're going to lose them. So for me, that was, that was not a win. That was, in terms of my stock chart, I felt like, wow, I failed. I did something and it didn't go the way I wanted it to. So that was, not a particular win. At the same time, I also had another idea. When I had sold my company, the first company, when I got my legal bill from the legal fees, the process, it was way higher than they had quoted me originally. And they said, we did this and this, and you asked us to do this. It was like double the thing. I ended up negotiating it. But I said to myself, if I had some easy app, some easy way to see my legal bills racking up on my phone, let's say, on an app on my phone, I could have stopped it early on. I could have said, hey, wait a second, what's going on? Instead of being surprised at the end. So I ended up starting a company called Viewable with, I brought in a childhood friend of mine who was actually my legal counsel, my in-house legal counsel at the time. And I actually brought Alan Dershowitz on as a partner as well. And Alan, myself, went on We went on a big press thing. We built the software. We got it into, over the course of a year and a half, we had everyone from AIG to Goldman Sachs to Las Vegas Sands, every major legal department using the software. The law firms hated it because basically what it did was it gave insight into, it gave real-time access to legal fees, to legal bills and billings to these corporate, to these major in-house legal departments. And it was a major battle because we were literally, when I say we were fighting a battle, you have all these law firms that are doing things a certain way for a long period of time. And all of a sudden, in comes David Schottenstein and says, hey guys, guess what? From now on, you guys are going to plug your hours as you build them into the system, or you're going to allow this system to have access to your existing system, and it's going to pull the hours, and it's going to send them to your customer before you have a chance to review them or anything, and the customer is going to see what you're up to. And it was like war. When I say, I mean, we were fighting with law firms like crazy. We pressed forward, and we did end up building it into a formidable tool. We ended up selling the company in 2013 to one of the major players in the legal billing space. So they bought our tool and they integrated it into their tool. So that one was a success. It was not, it wasn't the $1 billion success I thought it was going to be, but it was definitely successful.
Right.
And it was an experience for me because I learned something from that experience that I honestly had never given much stock to. I hated that business. And when I say I hated it, when I sold clothing, I used to go out and sell a product I loved to people that wanted it. And I would see the joy on their face when they get dressed up in that suit and they look like $1 million and they feel like $1 million. And that was like a great feeling. With this product, I was going out and convincing people that they needed it. And then, this was the crazy part, the people that actually paid for the product were the law firms. The in-house counsel of a major company would tell their law firm, if you want our business, you have to use this tool. So the people that I'm actually delivering the product to and that are actually paying me for it, they don't want the product and they don't want me around, So it was like this miserable feeling of like constantly going to battle with these people. And I really hated it. And it kind of taught me to value how precious it is to actually do something that you love doing and that you actually get out of bed and are excited to do.
Right.
So
is that why you decided to sell it?
So yeah, that was definitely part of the reason why I said, you know what, like if these guys, this other company they had a different tool than we did. It was a major e-billing tool that, essentially electronic billing for legal bills. They said we can integrate this into our tool and make our tool more vibrant. And they were willing to pay us a fair price, and we said, great, let's do it. At that point, I was like, okay, I'm ready to move out.
You were over it, yeah.
Yeah. So at the time, I started investing, around that time, I started investing in startups. This was really my first foray investing in other people.
What year was this?
I started investing in startups and other companies.
This is in 2013?
Yes, this is after I sold Viewaville. I then, I basically said, you know what, I'm going to start investing in some startups and some new companies, and I have a lot that I can offer these young entrepreneurs. I've been around the block, I know what it takes to blow up a company with marketing and everything. So I actually didn't have to really go look very far. People were approaching me and saying, hey David, we'd love to have you invest in our company and help us with our marketing and all that stuff. So I invested in a few companies. One of the companies I invested in, I was the first investor in, is a men's shirt company. Now it's a full clothing company called Mizzen and Main. It's Mizzen, Mizzen and Main. And the CEO, Kevin, approached me. He was very persistent. Originally I didn't want to invest. He was super persistent. And
why not?
What's that?
Why didn't you originally want to invest?
I didn't originally want to invest because I felt like I wasn't sure about the concept. I was kind of like, his idea was super comfortable, almost performance wear dress shirts. It was like you wouldn't have sweat stains on them. They would be super comfortable, stretchy. And I thought it was a little crazy. And then I kept on pushing him up. Then he actually sent a shirt to my house. And my wife was about to throw the shirt away, and she's like, hey, not throw it away. She's going to give it away to her nephew. She's like, can I give this shirt to my nephew? And I said, let me just see it for a second. I put it on, and I was like, oh, my God. This is like crazy.
This is amazing.
And I called him up and I said, I'm in. Let's work out a deal, and we got to get this product onto every professional athlete that I'm friends with and everyone that I know. And that's what we did. I got involved, and the company exploded. I mean, when I say exploded,
sorry, what did you say? It exploded like immediately?
It took off over the next year. The company ramped up massively and went to a completely different level. And that's not because of me. I helped, but Kevin did a great job, and I just was I supported him, and I gave him help with marketing, and I introduced him to a bunch of professional athletes, sports agents, and all that fun stuff. And he ended up really doing a great job with it. About a year ago, a very famous private equity group called L. Catterton. They are part of the Louis Vuitton family, the LVMH family. They invested in the company or actually they acquired a piece of the company, so now they're a partner, and the company has done extremely well, thank God. And there are a number of other companies in different spaces that I've invested in that have, thank God, also done very well. And I kind of started to apply myself by getting involved in these companies and giving them whatever expertise I had learned along the way. So marketing, logistics, anything I possibly could help with, I would help with. So then, this is where things get really kind of interesting. And I should say, during that time period, I actually partnered with, there's a fellow by the name of Ben Nash, who owns a company called PCS Wireless. And Ben and I started essentially a venture fund, which is comprised of him and myself. And we're still active partners in a bunch of things together. And it's called DSCN. And we basically invest together alongside each other in a bunch of different startup companies. And we still have a number of investments together, and thank God it's done very well. You still with me?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. So then moving forward, every summer I take a trip to Israel with Omri Caspi, the Israeli basketball player, and we take a bunch of NBA players and celebrities to Israel to show support for the state of Israel. And on the second time we did the trip, we took one of the people that came was Jeremy Piven, the actor, and he had his guy with him, his friend who actually brought him on the trip, who invited Jeremy to come on the trip, a fellow by the name of Dave Osikow, Osokow. And Dave is very close with a number of celebrities, and he does work with them, and he's like a very trusted confidant for a lot of these guys. He's a great guy, and we were on the trip. We got to know each other. Davo got to know me, got to know that I'm a businessman and I'm an entrepreneur and I like to invest in things and start things, etc. So we all stayed in touch after the trip. And on the trip, we actually talked about sunglasses and about how Jeremy wanted to get involved in the sunglass business because he loves sunglasses. And, it was just kind of a chit chat, About a month and a half later, I got a phone call from Dave Osikow. We call him Davo. Davo calls me and he says, "Hey, Jamie Foxx wants to talk to you." So, the actor Jamie Foxx. I said, "Okay."
Yeah.
So Jamie gets on the phone and he says, "Hey," so he says, "Nice to meet you. I went to open up this big casino in Las Vegas. I was doing promotion for them and I forgot my sunglasses. So on the way out, I bought a pair of sunglasses and I wore them and everyone went nuts over them. My Instagram blew up and everyone at the club was saying, 'Are those Gucci? Are they Ferragamo?' He said, 'I bought them for $12 at a Chevron gas station.' And he said, 'I already threw them away because the quality was such garbage. But there's got to be something here where, if an influencer, if a celebrity is wearing something and it looks beautiful, imagine if we could make something like that with amazing quality. You could build a whole brand around that. And you could charge an affordable, fair price, right? Because the margins on these things are crazy. Fair price. And, he's like 99% of my fans and of America isn't going to go spend $200, $300 on sunglasses. We can do something amazing here." So I said to him, "You're right. But if we were going to do something, it can't be the Jamie Foxx brand. It's got to be much bigger than that. So if you want to be a partner in it, great, but we need to get other people, other celebrities to come in and partner with us. And then we kind of start a grassroots movement where you guys are wearing them and you give them to all your celebrity friends and they're wearing them, not because we're paying them to, but because they're beautiful sunglasses and they want to wear them. And we create a brand. We really create a brand that people are proud to wear, and we charge a fair price. So that is how we launched Privé Revaux. We launched June 1st, 2017. The partners are Jamie Foxx, Jeremy Piven, Ashley Benson, Haley Steinfeld.
Yeah, oh my gosh. It's so funny. Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
I interviewed Ashley Benson about this back when and I saw the name when I was researching you. And, yeah, it's so funny that I'm talking to you now full circle because I used to work for People and I interviewed Ashley Benson and we had all the sunglasses on the table and it was like a
no
video and everything.
No way. I think I was there.
You were with her?
I think I was with her at that
we
interview.
did the video and it was like the whole video studio.
It was in New York. I came in with her.
Yeah. So that was me.
So funny. I was with her at that interview.
Oh, that's too funny. Wow. It's such a small world. Who knew that we would be doing this one day?
Yeah, there you go. So
yeah, that was, huge.
We launched, that's so funny you were there. I was there too. That's wild. So we launched this company and it really, really took off. Thank God the brand is now at, I mean, it'd be easier to tell you where it's not at, but it's aside from being on a website on PrivéRevaux.com and on Amazon, it's at Nordstrom, it's at Express, it's at American Eagle Outfitters, it's going into Kohl's, it's at Dillard, it's going into Dillard's now, it's internationally, it's in Canada, it's in Simon's department stores, in Mexico it's growing, huge Middle East presence, and by Middle East I don't mean Israel, I mean the Arab countries. It's really all over the place, and thank God it's just completely turned into something much bigger. We've expanded into prescription glasses, so we are doing prescription lenses and frames at $59.95 all in. Our normal frames are $29.95 non-prescription, but with prescription lenses, for $59.95 that's a crazy deal, and that just started. But the company really took off. Major high point. So exactly 1 year from launch, on the 1 year anniversary date, we sold a very significant minority stake to a group called TSG. TSG is the premier consumer private equity group in the country. They are the group that's behind Vitamin Water. They're behind It Cosmetics, which sold to L'Oreal recently for $1.2 billion. They are behind a number of very successful brands. They loved what we were doing. They said, we want to partner with you guys, and they came in and acquired a nice chunk. So that was so for me, to kind of put it into perspective, after I sold Aster and Black, and then I did Swiss Days, and that, Swiss Days is the collar stay company. Swiss Days didn't work out the way I wanted it to. Viewable was okay. It was good. It was like hitting a single or a double. You know what I mean? So, and then I started investing in companies, and I kind of said to myself, maybe you're better off just investing in companies. Maybe you don't have it in you to run a company again. Maybe you had it in you when you were younger, but now thank God I have, an amazing wife. I'm married for 15 years. And when I say amazing wife, I mean, if not for my wife, I would have quit 100 times. I mean, straight up.
Wow.
There's not two ways about it. There was many, 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 many moments in the past year when I literally was going to walk away and just, kind of shut down and say, I can't do this anymore. And, having that support system is everything. So
and why do you say that? In terms of the moments you were going to walk away, what was happening then? And you can finish, but then go back.
In the life cycle of any successful businesses, there are always moments, challenges, hurdles that come up that seem insurmountable and that feel like, you just, maybe this isn't meant to be, right? It's very easy to make that determination and to say, maybe I need to shut down figure something else out. This isn't the right move, right? This isn't the right business for me. This is too hard. And it's very easy to give into that impulse and to give into that, you know, when that comes up. But, if you really have strong convictions in what you're doing and you really believe in the model, and you have a good support system who's really pushing you from behind and, you know, you can overcome those challenges. I think a lot of people have probably shut down and quit on businesses that could have been tremendously successful because of challenges like that, you know, things that come up. I'll give you an example, just one example.
Yeah.
First shipment of product, the factory completely screws up and it looks, everything is coming in wrong and the product's coming in wrong and things were misprinted and you're like, oh my God, like, what the hell am I going to do? Like, you know, and of course there is a solution and there is a way to get around it, but in the moment when it first hits you, it really feels like there's really a strong urge to walk away. Especially, I'll say this, especially when you've already made money and you've already sold a company, you're doing well investing in other companies, you know, where other people are running them and you're making money, you know, through those investments. It's like, well, you know, maybe it's just easier for me to not run a company, not build a company, and just to do that, you know, just invest in other companies. And having my wife really push and support and push me and say, don't give up, don't throw in the towel. I've seen you, you know, when I had the soup business, she kept reminding me there were times when I had the soup business, Astor and Black, when I wanted to throw in the towel a year, 2 or 3 in. And same thing. And I didn't. And I persevered and I would say grit, persistence and grit are probably the most important characteristics of a successful entrepreneur. There's no question about it. Being able to just push forward is everything. And I'm really blown away when I see a successful businessman who doesn't have that support system and still manages to be successful. That's like mind-boggling to me. I think having a life partner who really is going to motivate you and pick you up when you're down and push you is incredibly important. So anyways, that, you know, for me, Purveyor Revo has been an amazing journey. We're taking it to new levels now, and we've got a lot of exciting things going on. And that's my life cycle. I think in terms of, you know, things that are very important to me, one thing I will say, because this is obviously, it's a Jewish magazine, my wife and I we've always given away more money to charity than we could afford to give, and then somehow the year after our income would rise to match that giving level. You know what I mean? So it was almost like you give ahead, like praying that you'd be able to support that and that it would make sense, and then it ended up making sense, and that's something that we saw firsthand live. We've been very fortunate to participate with some amazing charities and both around the United States and around the world. So that's been a source of tremendous gratification and satisfaction for both of us.
Wow. Yeah, that's amazing. And it's going off of that Jewish trajectory, how do you feel like are there any other areas in the Jewish world that you feel help you in your business? You know, whether, I don't know if it's Shabbat and having that time or that break.
Oh yeah.
Any other things that you do that make you...
Oh yeah. So I'll speak very candidly and very openly with you. I suffer from OCD and anxiety, obsessive compulsive disorder and anxiety, in a major way. And when I say in a major way, I mean, like, you if you observe me, you'd probably find it hard to believe that I've managed to be successful and that I have 4 beautiful children and an amazing wife. And it's extremely difficult when you have that, and it runs in my family, and something that's, you know, it's way more common than you might think. So I'm on my phone all the time. I check my phone all the time. It's almost like a prison, right? And and if someone doesn't respond, you get worried. Is something wrong? And your brain starts to play these tricks on you. Well, they didn't respond because they're angry at you, or something happened and something bad happened. There's all these things that play out in your mind. And so there's 2 things I would say. First of all, with regards to Shabbos, you know, if anyone ever tries to make the argument that the Torah is not relevant today, Shabbos is the answer. Because,
Mm.
you know, 3,000 years ago, who would have ever known that one day we're going to have these little gadgets that fit into our pockets that literally imprison us and literally chain us, you know, to work. And at anywhere you are, any place you are, this is like literally a plague. And in comes Shabbos, and if you can put your phone away, disconnect, and really plug into Shabbos and really unplug from work and plug into Shabbos, it's like the most beautiful gift. The whole week, I can't wait for Shabbos. It's like, I think of it in terms of a boxer. When a boxer throws a punch, before that punch goes out, he's got to pull back, right? Because he pulls back and then he releases the punch and the punch is stronger. Shabbos is like, gives you the ability to do that pullback. Like, it gives you the ability to get recentered, you know, connect with what's important, and then when you hit the work week, you hit it reinvigorated and with energy because you've really been able to pull back and connect with what's important. I genuinely feel bad for people who go off onto a weekend. They don't have Shabbos. They're on their phones the whole time. They're connected to work the whole time. At what point, nowadays, it used to be when you left the office, you didn't have a cell phone. People enjoyed the weekend. Shabbos or no Shabbos, people were able to disconnect and enjoy the weekend. That does not exist today. Unless you have some higher reason for disconnecting, it's extremely difficult to disconnect. So, to me, Shabbos is a godsend. And I'll tell you the truth, because of my anxiety and my OCD, there was a period in my work life when I would find ways to check my phone on Shabbos. Speaking very candidly with you, I would have the nanny, who's not Jewish, come and check my phone and read emails to me and respond for me and all sorts of craziness. And guess what? I had no peace of mind. I had no peace. I didn't look forward to Shabbos. It was like a wheel of misery. And then I finally made a decision that, you know what, I can't do this anymore. My wife really pushed me and said, babe, you got to get this under control and get Shabbos back to the way it's supposed to be. And my life has completely changed since then. Another thing that's been incredibly helpful for me is Minyan. A couple of years ago, the rabbi in our shul, Rabbi Lipsker, he challenged me and said, I never see you at Minyan, coming to prayers in the morning or in the afternoon. I'd like you to start coming and make an effort to come once a week. And he said, if you come once a week, I promise you'll be successful. So I said, what if I come every day? Will it be more successful? He said, yeah, if you come every day, it'll be more successful. So since then, I've made an effort to be at synagogue for prayers every single day. And, you hear everyone talk about how important it is to meditate, right? Every day on a daily basis. And meditation, that is, God prescribed meditation for the Jewish people 3 times a day. And, that meditation, if you really go in and it becomes important to you, it's like having a guided missile. It's like you're a missile. You're starting your day off, and you need something to guide you in the right direction. That is like an amazing guide. It gets you started off the right way. Your day starts off with a certain energy that otherwise you may not have. So that's been very incredibly helpful for me as well.
That's amazing. And have you've seen like the fruits of that, of going?
I have. I've seen. I can tell you that. Yeah. I mean, look. I despite my self-doubt after that maybe I couldn't run a company or build up another company, Privé Ravoux has been significantly larger success than Aster and Black was, and my first company was. So here I am back at it, doing something I love. There have been numerous times when things looked like they were going to go bad or could have gone bad, or by the nature of the world, they should have gone bad, and somehow they turned out great. So yeah, I've seen it, definitely.
Yeah, that's really amazing.
I don't. By the way, I don't mean to sound preachy because I'm a very flawed human being. This is, to me, it's everyone can connect to something. Everyone has to connect to something bigger than themselves. I think we as Jewish people have a certain code that we were given, a blueprint, if you will, that is just so relevant in today's day and age, and really we should take advantage of. But again, for someone like me who really suffers from anxiety and OCD, it's like the antidote was like handed to me on a silver platter, Shabbos and davening and being able to go to minyan. These things all help that. It doesn't cure it. I still battle this every day, but without those things, I don't know where I'd be.
Right. I love that. And okay, so in terms of innovation in the Orthodox community, what are your thoughts on that? One of the reasons we're doing this is because it's not necessarily as prevalent in the Orthodox community. Do you feel like you see it on the rise, or where do you see it going?
Sorry, can you repeat that again?
Yeah, in terms of innovation, entrepreneurship, in the Orthodox community, where do you see that going? Like, do you see it on the rise? Do you think it's going to become more prevalent or not? And for what reason?
I mean, the Orthodox community, look, here's the problem, right? So if you look at Israel, it's obviously per capita more startups coming out of Israel than anywhere else in the world. That being said, the education system in Israel is pretty fantastic. And, when you look at these people that are starting these companies, they're getting a great secular education in Israel. And then they're taking that, knowledge of math and science, et cetera, and they're using that to their advantage. I think one of the issues with real earth-shattering entrepreneurship in the Orthodox community is if kids are not educated, and they're not given the tools they need to be successful, I think that is a challenge. That being said, on the flip side, if you look in the Orthodox community, there are a lot of people that went to yeshivas and didn't get the greatest education in the world in terms of secular studies, and they've been very successful in the field of entrepreneurship. So, I would say I'm not ready to pass judgment on what determines if there's going to be more entrepreneurship from the Orthodox community or more groundbreaking startups. Do I think the next Facebook is going to come from the Orthodox community? Probably not. But I do think there's a certain I certainly see a certain drive that exists in the Orthodox community. People want to be successful for a lot of reasons. It's not cheap to be an Orthodox Jew. You gotta send your kids to private schooals and then all the Shabbos and Yom Tovim and everything. It all adds up. You want to get tzedakah and you want to do all. It's not cheap. So there certainly is drive to make money in the Orthodox community, but I think it wouldn't be a bad thing if people spent a little bit more time and attention to giving their kids a better education. I think that couldn't hurt. Let's put it that way.
Right. 100%. I totally hear that. And what are your future plans personally?
Right now, I'm just really focused on continuing to build, Privé Revaux, which is our glasses and sunglasses company. So that's really what my immediate focus is on. I've got a lot of work to do and a long way to go. So, and I've got great partners. I think getting the right partners is really important because they're either going to hold you down or they're going to prop you up. So, that's been a blessing getting these, the partners that we recently, partnered with, and my original partner have been very supportive of the various things that I've done. So, I have to deliver in a pretty major way. The goal is to, take this company and grow our optical business and our prescription business, grow our sunglasses business, and get us to a place where we are ready to do an IPO at some point.
Amazing. Okay. And then is there anything else that you're excited about or like trends that you see in the industry when it comes to either things to get involved in or places to invest or that kind of thing?
I think there's definitely you know what, and it's actually what Privé Revaux is involved in. I think what's happening now in the marketplace is young people, because they're getting such great access to information, they're starting to realize that you should not, you can experience luxury and experience a brand, a luxurious brand, and you don't have to break the bank for it. they're starting to understand the actual cost of making things, and they're saying to themselves, why should that cost $200 or $300 when, I should be able to spend $40 on it or $30 on it, and it should be fantastic at that price if the retailer is making a fair margin, right? So they're starting to get smarter, and that's leading to a number of companies that are coming out with an offering that is luxurious, branded, stands for something, but fairly priced. And I think we fit into that spectrum obviously very well. That is the whole concept of Purveyor of O. It's that our customers, they don't have to choose between, and buy one pair of sunglasses. They can buy 10 because of the price point. They're able to buy 10, and so they have a different pair of sunglasses with each outfit, for example. And guess what? They're not sacrificing a single thing. They're not sacrificing on the brand because our brand is amazing. Everyone in Hollywood is wearing it. Every influencer is wearing it, and we're not paying them to wear it. They're wearing it because they like it. They're not sacrificing on packaging because our packaging is better than anybody's. They're not sacrificing on quality because our quality is fantastic. You get polarized lenses and anti-skid screws and everything you can imagine. So that is a trend. That's happening now in every industry, not just sunglasses. We're doing it in sunglasses and glasses, but if you look around the different industries, it's happening all over the place, and I think you're going to see that continue to happen and grow in a major way.
Mm-hmm. Amazing. Okay, great. This is really awesome. I do want to get a little bit more on like your day-to-day life. I feel like the timing. Do you mind if we do like a part 2 for that? Is that possible at all?
Yeah, of course. No problem.
Okay.
We can do. I can do next Sunday if you want. Unless you need it sooner.
Yeah, that should be great. No. I think that will be perfect. And then that way, if like I'll transcribe all this, and if there are any like last minute follow-ups, I can ask you then too. But I really, really appreciate that and the flexibility.
No problem. Let's shoot for next Sunday, same time, and we'll talk to you then.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Shana Tova.
Happy New Year to you. Take care.
Happy New Year. Bye.
Thanks a lot.